Alright, so what are we doing, Etta?
Taking pictures of me.
Exactly.
Per usual.
With the large camera.
So large.
So we've got the big monolights and the umbrellas, the solid boxes. We're attempting for something that I'm told is called Rembrandt Lighting, named after some Dutch guy. Alright, so even though we've got like a 70-odd-year-old camera and a 50-year-old lens, everything still works with each other because despite the digital revolution, nothing of real substance in photography has changed. Someone's going to complain about that, but what I mean is, lights hitting a sensor. What the sensor is different. How the entire rest of that mechanism works is basically the same. So I've got this cable that's going from the lens to the flash. We bought these flashes like 6 months ago. This lens was made in like 1962. Same interface. So when I cock the shutter and fire it off, the lights still work. Lo and behold, nothing's changed. So how we focus is we have to cock the shutter and then flip this little lever here to open up the aperture. Or excuse me, to open up the shutter, and then we'll open the aperture all the way so when we're looking through the ground glass we can see what we're looking at, and then we're going to come around to the other side. We're looking at the ground glass in the back and there's not a lot of room under here. So I'll loosen the focus wheel and move the camera. So now I'm focusing on the rear standard. You can see that Etta is coming in and out of focus. So that looks pretty good. So now that we're focused, we tell her to stand very still. Nope, no blinking. Yes, very good. Now that Etta's sitting very still and definitely not holding the camera, we take our film holder. This one's empty because we already actually took the pictures, but shh, don't tell anyone. This is a film holder. You know, there's two slides on each side, which means you can hold two pieces of film. The dark slide has the shiny side and the black side, and that helps you keep track of if you've exposed the frame or not. Each side has the same mechanism going on. So you've got a dark slide, which is this thing here. It goes in front of the film to protect it from physical damage and from light. To load the film, you open up this little flap here and slide the film in this space. You close this and you put the dark slide back in. Obviously you do that in the dark. If you do that in the daytime, you won't have usable film anymore. And that would be pretty stupid, wouldn't it? I'm using the convention of shiny side out, means the film is unexposed. So shiny side out, take the film holder and put it in the back of the camera, like that. Then we make sure that everything's closed, so the shutter is closed. I usually fire it off just to make sure that everything goes back to being closed and is working right. We're going to set our aperture to f11 because we already calculated that with an antique light meter. I should probably...
It's behind you.
Yeah.
Oh.
We'll do that.
Okay.
To figure out what kind of exposure we need, we've got this light meter. I got it from the internet. It's very old. So how it works, Etta, if you can flip the switch to on.
Sure can.
Alright, so the light meter is on, fire off the flash, and then you look at it. So we've taken our reading and it's giving us, this up here it's telling us our aperture number, and it's basing that off of the assumption that we're using ISO 50 film, which is a little bit of a weird way of doing it, but it's very old. So we see that it's saying, around f3.5, something like that. So we set our little 50 needle down there where this needle is, and then because we're using, in this case, ISO 400 film, we follow this dial up to where the 400 is, and we see that that's pointing at between f9 and f11. When we did this earlier, when we were taking the pictures, it was actually reading a little bit differently, which is why I said f11 instead of f9, but I think this has an old battery, so yeah, we'll see. But yeah, that's how this old ass light meter works. So then we go ahead and cock the shutter, pull out the dark slide. Say cheese!
Cheese!
Take your dark slide, black side out, put it in. That's your image.